Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo, first year Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. You're in the code Zikr Yaakov number 6 in Yerushalyim, HaKodesh. We're not too far from the central bus station, so we can walk from there. Take a bus. If you're driving, there's car parking across the street. And if you're coming to push cars, please join us right in Richard. Visit Yerushalyim with as much Torah as possible. We're learning our first year, usually around 9 o'clock, Avos. And we are getting very close to the conclusion, hopefully, of our understanding of when Shmuel HaKatan advised us very strongly, when you see your enemies down and out, don't be happy about it, because Hashem is going to take a look and see what's going on with you, and it's going to be turned back upon you. And why should that be? Because we have to realize when such things happen, what are we supposed to be happy about and why? So in general, we're supposed to be happy about because when there are those people who are considered to be Yerushalyim, and they're on the down and out, that brings Kiddush Hashem into the world. When Haman was down and out, and Mordecai was on the way up, right, that brought a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, tremendous honor to Hashem's name in the world. So that's what we're happy about. Not that necessarily the Yerushalyim are being destroyed, because we see from the HaKodesh Baruch Hu's own HaKodesh, his own behavior, so to speak, Hashem is not happy with the destruction of the Yerushalyim. He'd rather that they do tshuva and change their ways, and it's a kabbalah, as they say, it's a shame that they have to be destroyed because they didn't take the lesson to heart. So we're going to continue on again with what we were learning, and with this time with the Torah Tanima. That's the 6th source citation here on page number 1. You have a sheet there, Mr.
Yes, sir.
6 is the one at the bottom there. You want to give it a try?
Not without the vowels. No, I don't want to butcher it up. I'll read the next time there's something that has vowels.
We'll say the Mishnah word.
Yeah.
No problem. Okay, go. I guess you're on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uktsat, Tzarech Ayin, Eich, Amru, Az, Moshe, Yisrael, Shira, Begam, Eich, Korin, Anu, Bashvi'i, Shel Pesach, Parshas, Hashira, Acharei, Tavi, As. Let's try that. A little bit. It is the topic of the day.
Well, Surah Ian. It requires Ian. It requires investigation, analysis. So it requires somewhat of an analysis and investigation.
How do they say? How can they say Az Moshe Yisrael Shira? Then Moshe and Israel sang. So how can they say this? This is a sad time. V'gam eich korin anu b'shvi'i shel Pesach. And also, how can it be written concerning us on the 7th day of Pesach, which is the day that the destruction happened? Parshas Hashira it's the part we call the parsha of the Torah that we read on that day, the parsha of the song. Acharei de Tevi'as Mitzrayim, after the destruction of Egypt.
That's like the drowning of the Egyptians.
The drowning of the Egyptians. We call it the section of song after the fact that the Egyptians drowned. Haisab Oso Yom. It was on that day.
Right. So the question again is, we see that first of all, at the time that it was occurring, HaKodesh Baruch Hu told the Malachim, it's not time to sing Shira. That's number 1. So at the time that it was occurring was not a time to sing Shira, right? And we explained that because that was according to the 3rd source of the Torah's Chaim, that HaKodesh Baruch Hu said in the Gemara, he was quoted telling the Malachim, "My said Yadai Toivu B'Yam," and you want to sing Shira, the handiwork of my hands creations that I've created are being destroyed, drowning in the ocean, and you want to sing Shira. Because as we understood from the Torah's Chaim, that it reflects unfavorably upon the HaKodesh Baruch Hu that his own creations were not so perfect that they had to be destroyed. How can something in the HaKodesh Baruch Hu creates, HaKodesh Baruch Hu is perfect, right? So as we explain, when you have something that's been created, whatever's been created always reflects on the creator. The person who wrote a certain book, a sefer, doesn't that reflect upon the author? If it's written well, you know he's a good writer. If it's not written well, he's not a good writer, right? You have a painting, it's a good painting, you know he's a good painting. He's a good dentist because he does good work. If he doesn't do good, he's not a good dentist. So if he's a good creator, he creates good creations. So why should they be destroyed if they were so... What's lacking in their perfection that they had to be destroyed? That's not a time to say, how can you extol and praise the HaKodesh Baruch Hu when it seems to be a time that's reflecting Hasashol and badly on the HaKodesh Baruch Hu?
Did he mess up?
Well,
why do we have to destroy his beings?
Right.
Sorry.
Exactly.
How were we able to say Yeshiva?
That's the Torah to me is question. That's what he's dealing with.
Listen and you will hear.
That's what we're trying to understand. How do we get away with it? So first of all, every day, every day, and on Yishal Pesach, right? When we came up out of the we had a right to sing Shira, right? Because we were saved, right? They were chasing us, and Hashem saved us. So we have a right to sing Shira to HaKodesh Baruch Hu for the fact that He saved us, right? So that was then, at that day. But now that it's over and done with, so where do we... Still, the fact that His creations were destroyed on that day, that's not a so to speak, a happy day for HaKodesh Baruch Hu that we should be singing His praises at that time. That's what the question of the Torah Tamim is all about. Let's continue.
Well, how is cut short because
Exactly, you're right. He's going to explain about Hallel. So we're also, maybe we'll have time to get a little more deeply involved. There are different levels of what's going on here. Meaning, there was the regular shir that the Malachim would sing regularly, and that night, the HaKodesh Baruch Hu said, it's not a night to sing the regular shira. The routine of the day has been changed, vacation, right? Just like when there was the Mabul, the flood, Hashem said it's not a time to say shira. Your regular shira is canceled, just like the day with the Korban Abayis, when the temple was destroyed. Hashem said it's not a day to sing shira. Your regular routine is interrupted today, right? Not today. That's the regular shira that they always sing. Then there's the shira on the Yam that the Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, sang when we came up on the Yam. We saw our enemies had been destroyed, and we were thankful for HaKodesh Baruch Hu for His saving us. That we have a right to say shira over the fact that Hashem saved us.
The Malachim don't?
Oh, there's a medrash. The medrash in fact says that see if I bring it down here. The medrash in fact says like this. I didn't bring it down on this sheet. The medrash says that when the Jewish people came up out of the Yam, they were about to say shira, right? The Malachim said, no, we want to sing shira first. We want to sing shira first. So the HaKodesh Baruch Hu said to the Malachim, no, the Jews come first, right? So after the Jews said shira, so then the Malachim said, now it's our time to sing shira. Hashem says, no, the women want to say shira. Miriam and the women want to say shira. So let the women go first. So the women went first before the Malachim. Then thirdly, finally, the Malachim, they sang shira, right? So you see, after the fact, right, then there's a possibility, a time to sing shira. Over the fact...
But they couldn't sing shira because they weren't saved.
Well, good point. So that was...
The Malachim.
The Malachim, right? Klal Yisrael, but nevertheless, there's an absolute, what we call Kiddush Hashem, when the Yerushalyim are destroyed. Even though Hashem's not happy with the destruction of the Yerushalyim, nevertheless there is honor brought to Hashem's name with the destruction of the of the Rishonim. So for that, even the Malachim can sing Shir, apparently. Let's see. And then you have Hallel, a regular Hallel, which we say on Yom Tov. Right? We say Hallel on Purim. What are we happy about? Haman's dead. In the war we killed all those guys, right? But that's part of what we read in the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah says that there were two things that occurred: the destruction of Haman and Gedulas Mordecai, the exaltation of Mordecai. Mordecai's rise to eminence, prominence. So we praise Him for both things. We'll see. Let's see whether the Torah Tamid deals with the question.
What is the parent saying when it says that the Melach don't say Shira?
Oh, so that was the regular Shira of the day, that was canceled. But the Shira on the specific saving of the Jews at the Yam Suf, that they did sing Shira. Okay, let's see a little further. The second one. Sure, we must say this. The explanation is going to be as follows.
Here's the answer. Kevan, since de hatavi haisa b'layla, since the destruction was at night. Was it at night? I thought it was in the morning.
Well, okay, so that's a bit of a discrepancy, but apparently they entered. Okay. That's a whole other subject, but let's just go along with them that it was at night. Okay. You're right. It's dealt with. It's not an easy point. You have to, but we'll see.
Nachon shelo lamar b'layla. It's correct that we should not speak at night. Aval b'yom shila machrat. So
Shimarachasoi
Shari. But in the day
afterwards, Machar is the day after, right? It's tomorrow. Machar is tomorrow, right? Shimarachasoi.
Oh, the day of tomorrow, the day afterwards.
Right. It's really if you Achar is afterwards, right? You see the Ches Reish Achar. Achar is Ma'achar is like a poil. It's like something which is happening tomorrow. Something is happening afterwards. Something which is happening afterwards is like tomorrow.
Okay, so it's not proper to sing at night, but it is proper to sing on the day after.
Because at night apparently was, according to the way we learn now, that night was when it was the actual destruction taking place, right? But the next day, with the salvation complete, then it was a time to say Shir.
Umedovik.
Umeduyak. And it fits nicely. It fits very nicely.
The fee. What's the quote for it?
Where's the quote? The fee.
After the yud of the fee.
Oh, the Meduyak was. I'm not sure why they put that in. I'm not sure if that's necessary. You're right.
Lashon ha-Gemara ba'anan be'inyan zeh. Since the language of the Gemara in this subject, the Sanhedrin in the Masechta Sanhedrin, ba'osa sha'a, in that year.
At that specific time.
At that time, Bakshu Melachei Hashares Lamar Shira. The angels asked to sing a song. V'hayinu rak ba'osa sha'a levad, and it was only in that time alone. Lo Hanicham HaKodesh Baruch Hu. HaKodesh Baruch Hu was not content with the.
Lord, he didn't allow them. He didn't allow them. At that time.
Is it Hanicham like Noach?
Also, yeah, but also means like something which is, you leave something alone. Also, you leave it. Like, to leave something alone. And so that's what we've explained already. That at the time of the actual destruction, when the Egyptians were drowning in the Yam, in the ocean, so it was not a proper time for the Malachi Ashuras to sing Shira, and Hashem didn't allow them.
Right. Mipnei she'az ha'isa ha'tevi'ah mamash. Because then was the actual destruction. V'chein, and so tzarich lomar, it's necessary to say b'vrachos.
That's the Gemara b'brachos.
The Gemara in brachos, blah blah.
That's daf tes amud beis. That's the tes is the daf and beis is the
right.
Which amud.
And the kuf nun.
Kuf nun, right. That it says kuf nun parshiyos amar David. There were 150. That's just in Tehillim. There were 150
Psalms.
Prakim of Tehillim.
Prakim.
Yeah. Chapters of Psalms. Chapters of Psalms in Tehillim.
Amar David, that David said.
Right.
Below Amar Hallelujah, and he didn't say Hallelujah.
And in all the first 150 Tehillims, you take a Tehillim look, you all go through all the 150 first 150 of all the 20. There's not one mention of the word Hallelujah. Doesn't mention that word. I mean, praise Hashem. Tell him, praise Hashem. Not mentioned.
Tehillim?
What?
Tehillim?
The first 150. Yeah. The Lord brought. Ad until.
Shireh?
Ad she raw until he saw.
Ad Shirah b'miflasan shel Yerushalyim, until he saw the destruction of the wicked.
So once David Melech saw the destruction of the Yerushalyim, then at that point, then he said Hallelujah.
The Hallel, and he praised Hayu, praised he did, Kamo, like Shira, a song, Kidil Finan,
B'psachim. That's the Gemara Psachim.
What's Delfinan?
That we derive, that it's learned or it's taught to us in the Gemara.
Like the singing that is taught to us in Psachim, Le'inyan Chiyuv, Halel, Balel, Rishon Shel Pesach. Concerning the subject of the obligation to praise on the first night of Pesach.
Like to say Hallel, that we say at night on Hallel. Actually, at Seder we say it. Not only that, we say, many congregations say it in the Beit Knesset, in Shul on the night of Pesach, and we say it again at the Seder. That's what we're saying Hallel.
Right. Mipasuch Hashir Haya Lechem Khalil HaTikadesh Chag. And from the chapter of song, it was for them like the night of the sanctification of the holiday.
Right, that was it. Kalel is Kadesh Chag. It was for them, right? It was for them the night of the sanctification of the holiday. So that's what we're doing. We see on the first night of Pesach, we are in fact saying Hallel. Right? We asked this question ourselves. We said, "Hey, what's going on? Wasn't the night of Pesach when Hashem was killing out the Mitzrim, the Bechorim, the firstborn of the Egyptians?
Right.
Right? And wasn't it happening almost the same time? Really, they we were saying Hallel, and we were eating the Korban Pesach. That was before, and at midnight, then the plague struck, and all the firstborn in Mitzrayim died. So actually, in fact, we were saying Hallel at that point. At the actuality when it happened, we actually said Hallel before they started dying. But for us, that are living years afterwards now, centuries, decades, generations afterwards, so our Hallel is taking place also on that day which we commemorate and speak highly about the 10 plagues that befell the Mitzrayim.
L'cha'ora kasha gam kein ich amar shira b'mitlasan shel Yerushalyim. And with l'cha'ora,
and it seems
difficult. Also, how we can say song when due to the destruction of the wicked. Baha chazinan shehakadosh baruch hu makfid al zeh. And this, or for this, and what? Chazinan, that we repeat.
what we see.
We see that Hashem makfid.
He's strict on this. He's strict on this. We've seen that the Gemara mentioned that the Malachi Yesharis, the angels wanted to sing Shira, and Hashem said not to them to sing Shira, right? So the question is, how are we getting away with saying Hallel when we're commemorating these very same events?
And we were not the ones that were actually saved.
Even though the first night of Pesach was a very great salvation for us. Maybe we can go into that. But let's see what the Torah Tsama says.
Tzarech lomar, and the answer is Gamkin also the love the etzem sha'as hamifla amarche. That also we do not in the midst of the time say thus. What is hamifla? That it's falling?
The Shah Hamafla, the time of the falling, of the downfall, right? We have to say also the same thing, that we must say that it's not taking place at the actual time of the destruction. I mean, at the time of the destruction, it's clear there's no time to say Shira, no time to say Hallel. But if it's going to come at a time afterwards, apparently that should be okay. That should be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, very good. Okay.
So can we just summarize the last
sure.
few sentences?
He's basically asking pretty much this question we've been asking. If HaKodesh Baruch Hu, as we know, is not happy with the destruction of the Yerushalyim, and not only that, at the time when they were being destroyed, he told the angels, the Malachim, not to sing Shira, right? So the question is, how can we come along now on Shvi Shal Pesach, which is a commemoration of the day when the Egyptians died in the sea and were drowned there, and how can we also on the first day of Pesach, which is a commemoration of the deaths of the firstborn of the Egyptians, how can we also come along and say Shira, right? So you have to say that when we do say the Shira, or we do say Hallel, we're allowed to say it because it's not occurring at the exact same time as the destruction. When it's the time of destruction, there can be no singing of praises to HaKodesh Baruch Hu. But afterwards, then that could righteously be said and offered up our thanksgiving and our praises to HaKodesh Baruch Hu for the actual salvation. And really, it's only because of the salvation. It's really not for the destruction, right? The destruction, we may not be able to praise HaKodesh Baruch Hu after or on the destruction. That will probably have to wait till next time. We will go on the next time. The second page is a continuation of the Torah Tsama. but maybe we'll leave it for tomorrow, actually, Yerushalyim. Okay. Thank you.